Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. Today we reached Sovereign. I'm ranked 23 on the server, Sovereign 100 marks. You can see my record, 293 wins, 227 losses. I'm just going to kind of go through my stats here initially, and then I'm going to talk about kind of what I did this season to sort of get to Sovereign, some of the new things I did, some of the things I've learned, or just the best things that I've been doing to climb this season. So you can see here, 5.5 KDA, about 783 gold per minute. I play autofill, if you guys don't know. For all of these games, I always play autofill. Averaging about an MVP every 5th game, which is pretty good considering we get 56% win rate, which means I've only won 290 games, right? So getting an MVP basically every 3rd game that we do win. You can see here my most played champion, again, Jace, as per usual, 65% win rate, playing a lot of Thresh in support. Jace I typically play in top lane. Tristana was one of the ADCs alongside Xayah, and then recently Varus as well. Gragas, another champion I play in top lane. Ziggs being like the main mid laner for me this season. Vi being an OP jungler that I played a lot of. Xin Zhao a little bit. Now you can see we go down, we have a couple other champs, but again, that's kind of the first thing that I do is I have a small champ pool. Like you can see, I really don't have that many games on that many champs. It's mostly these first 5-6 champions, so I have 50 or more games on all 6 of these champions. And then every other champion, I don't really play very much, maybe every once in a while. So again, the small champion pool thing, I always reiterate, is extremely important. And you can see I basically have 1 champion per role, a couple of roles, maybe 2 or 3 champions max. Okay guys, for the format of this video, I am just going to have a gameplay in the background as I talk about things rather than going over examples, just because it's going to be more conceptual things for climbing that I talk about in this gameplay. And also, this gameplay is the game that got me to Sovereign, so I kind of thought it'd be fun to show some clips from that game and just show you guys a little bit about how that game went. But basically, the first thing that I want to talk about is that I've been focusing a lot more on fundamentals. So I've been coaching people a lot more recently than I used to. If you guys don't know, I coach people for $15 an hour. So if you're interested in that, DM me on Discord. But anyways, basically, this coaching has kind of allowed me to think a lot more about the fundamental things about the game that I didn't previously think about as much, because I would be a lot more concerned with, a lot of these more like complicated things, I kind of forget the basic things. And one of the main basic things that I've forgotten about is just trading based around when your enemy jungler is pathing, like where they're pathing. And so I've been a lot better about trading, based on where my enemy jungler is and where my own jungler is. Just trading around the jungle pathing, keeping a lot more attention to that. That way I don't die to as many dumb ganks. I'm kind of just paying better attention to that type of thing. That's definitely been one of the main things that I've been improving on, and has allowed me to climb so quickly to Sovereign this season. And the next important thing that I've been able to do really effectively this season is kind of play differently based on how the game turns out, and not kind of just be someone who plays the game the same way every time. So what I mean by that is, obviously in a game where I'm doing really well, where I'm winning lane, I'm going to play more selfishly. I'm going to play really for myself. I'm going to try to carry my, team as best as possible. I'm going to play for myself. I'm going to build in a way that's going to make me survive. I'm going to take as much gold as I can. I'm going to play really aggressively to push my leads, all these types of things. But in a game where I get ganked a lot, by the enemy, or something just happens where the game ends up being hard for me, maybe I lose lane, again, maybe I get ganked, somehow I get put behind a lot of gold. Oftentimes, I'm ending up in these games being okay with dying more times, die a 3rd time, die a 4th time, just for some turret plates to get a, shutdown on the turret, to get the gold bounties, to get things like this. I'm playing a lot more based on how the game's going, and then that draws pressure, away from me, and then my team can maybe carry. Basically just kind of shifting my mindset per game based on how the game occurs, rather than always trying to be the main character, has been a very important thing for me to climb as well this season. Because if I'm always keeping in mind, the actual win condition, how can we win this game? What is it that's going to lead to a win? Instead of thinking, how do I make my game as easy as possible? Thinking in a more like holistic thing like that has definitely been a big thing for me, just kind of winning games that oftentimes seem unwinnable otherwise. The next really important thing for me has been understanding side laning a lot better. I think my understanding of side laning has improved greatly compared to the past. Like, the main thing that I've been able to keep in mind is it's actually okay to die on side lane in certain scenarios. For example, if say you're, getting a guaranteed 200 gold in the side lane, there is no objectives up and you're getting this lane pushed rather far. You know that, say, 4 of the enemies are on the other side of the map, but you don't know where one of them are. And you think, well, if one of them comes, I could probably 1v1 them. But if 2 people come, well, maybe I can't. Well, obviously you know that 4 people are on the other side, or maybe you even only know that 3 people are on the other side, but you could 1v1 either of the other 2 people. And so the only way that they can stop you is if both of them come at the same time, and you'll still get the wave at the end of the day. So you're not going to lose that much because there's no objective to lose, right? There's nothing really to lose, and you're getting the lane pushed, so it's not like they're going to kill your turret afterwards. So in a scenario like this, like, I'm perfectly okay pushing the side lane and risking dying, right? But obviously, if an objective is spawning in 30 seconds, I don't want to die. I don't want to waste my flash, my ultimate, all these things on side lane. I want to make sure that my only goal then is to push that side lane and then to just kind of leave. So just understanding side laning has been a really effective thing for me. It's allowed me to get a lot more gold on a lot of ADCs and mid laners especially. Those two roles, I've been able to increase my gold per minute a lot lately, and it's definitely made it a lot easier to just carry games. And then another super important thing has just been not giving up in games. Like the amount of games that I think are unwinnable, I'm literally saying on stream, I'm like, there's no way we win this, we can't win this. And then we end up winning because I'm still focusing on doing what I can to win. I'm going on side lanes and making sure to play for gold bounties. I'm making plays on the opposite side of the map when we fall behind. I'm doing all these different things, even in games that feel unwinnable. And honestly, it's just leading to a lot of success in a lot of games that feel like we otherwise couldn't win. And this is against, sovereign challenger level players oftentimes. When if you're doing this in lower elos, it's even easier oftentimes to take advantage of dumb mistakes that the enemy make, take advantage of their throws and things like this. So just really keeping decent enough mental where you are still able to focus on what's important, on trying to win the game, and that doesn't mean you can't blame your teammates. Like I think a misconception that people have with how I speak is that you can't blame your teammates is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. If you watch my stream, I blame teammates all the time, more than I should. What's important to acknowledge is that your teammates aren't the reason that you're in the elo you are. You're in the elo you are because you're not good enough. Now your teammates may be the reason you lose one or two of those games in a row, or maybe your teammates could be the reason you're on a loss streak, but they're not going to be the reason in the long run. In the long run, the only thing you're able to control is yourself. And everyone gets bad teammates sometimes. Everyone gets good teammates sometimes. And it's always about, controlling the games that you can control. And so, again, getting mad at your teammates, maybe, blaming them a bit in your head is fine. The problem is when you start typing to them, because then that makes them, get more angry. I just recommend muting chat because then, don't have to deal with that problem. Things like this, and again, just having good enough mental where you're still focusing on winning the game. You're not, checking out of the game just because you're down a couple thousand gold, or just because one of your teammates picks a bad pick. Even if they pick a bad pick, still entirely winnable. So just things like that definitely make it a lot more likely for me to win, have been extremely helpful for me. And this last clip, which is kind of the game-winning clip for my Sovereign game, I think it kind of exemplifies what I want to talk about here. And that's really just being patient in games. Like, especially when you're in a lead like I am in this situation, being very patient has been extremely effective for me rather than trying to overforce or follow up on, dumber plays that my teammates are making. When I'm in a worse spot and when we're behind and the game is really hard, then I might make these more aggressive, silly plays, right? But in a game like this where I'm very ahead, if my teammates start making a dumb throw like this, I'm just going to do what I can. You can see I'm looking for a snipe there. I get that snipe on Ezreal, right? I'm making sure I'm aware of what they're going to do next. So what are they going to do after they just killed all of my teammates, after my teammates threw? They're going to do the Baron, right? Well, as a Varus, I'm very good at not only stealing the Baron, but also poking people off it. So I'm going to sit here, right? I'm going to continue to poke them out, look for snipes on who I can get. I'm going to get a snipe onto that Viego after having also sniped the Ezreal earlier on. And now I'm going to play for the steal here. And I'm going to make a kind of a mistake too, but you can see how I'm patient. I'm not like panicking. I'm not doing anything crazy. They go over the wall. I flash over it and I try to get the steal here. This is kind of the mistake. I do it a bit too early, my first ability, but we still do end up getting it. And then this play kind of leads to us winning. So again, just having that patience is a very important thing. Don't rush things when you're in the lead. Only really go for these over aggressive, crazy plays when you're behind, because when you're ahead, you have the time to, make sure that as long as you don't throw the game, you understand, even though your teammates maybe died and made a mistake, be aware of what, is going to happen next. The objective, for example, focus on that. Make sure that the enemy can't get it by just zoning them off or getting a pick on someone, kind of like I did there. So that's really the main things for this video. Those are the things that I feel like I improved on a lot this season that I've been doing that have allowed me to climb really effectively. I also have that video of when I reached rank 5 last season that talks about a lot of my tips for climbing, and the earlier video about me reaching a top 10 challenger this season that also is pretty valuable. If you're looking for other climbing tips, I also always do coaching videos as well. You can always look at those. I have some guides and everything, and once again I do coaching for $15 an hour, so you can just add my Discord, Talon1169, or look at the link in the description, DM me there, and we can always get that set up as well. So I have a lot of ways that I feel like I can help you guys improve, and whatever works for you is always cool with me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.